And welcome to another edition of The Locker Room. I am Brandon Jones, and with me I have
Reggie Huffman.
Matt Hirsch right here in the locker room.
And Kyle Anderson.
And tonight, man, we're going to go live. If you like the first edition, trust me, you're going to love this one. Just going to give you guys a little background on my three co-hosts here. To my left, I have Reggie Huffman, former basketball player at UAB, all-around great guy, very knowledgeable in sports. Right before me, I have Matthew Hirsch, who's probably one of the most knowledgeable people in the arena of sports. One of the best fans that you'll ever meet, and he's Roll Tide all day. And to my right, I have Kyle Anderson, one of the linemen for that '98 Homewood State Championship team. One of the best guys that you can meet. Well, tonight we're going to be talking about morality in sports. Pretty sure you guys have seen the different issues that we got going on with sports. The hot button, Bobby Petrino. So I'm going to kick it over to Reggie. Should Bobby Petrino have been fired?
Should Bobby Petrino have been fired? This guy's lucky to still have his freedom when you talk about football in Arkansas. I mean, he gets caught on a bike when a 25-year-old, a married man with kids. I mean, this is huge. I think he was definitely deserved to be fired, at least.
Yeah, and you know, I hate to play devil's advocate here, but not even considering the morality part of it, the ethical part of it. I think that he might not have been fired if it was just some adulterous situation. Yeah, it's a kind of reputational risk with the university. But the fact that it was an employee that he had just hired, I think that's probably why it really happened. So absolutely he deserved to be fired from that standpoint. Now, from a personal standpoint, I think that even in a morality issue, he deserved to be fired. I think that there's a precedent as far as athletic directors and presidents taking that stand ever since, especially we know here being in Alabama, from the Alabama situation with Mike DuBose and Mike Price, those situations. But he deserved to be fired at least from the ethical standpoint of his employment with the university.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and make it 4 for 4. I really think he should have been fired. I think there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I know some people will say, oh, well, he had an affair. That's between him and his wife. That's true, but I think Matt hit on it, and Reggie hit on it, and Brandon has hit on it before. When you involve yourself with an employee who's a subordinate, and you give her $20,000, and then to make it even worse, you lie to the university about everything, even after it's coming out that this is happening, you're still lying. That's the question. There's no question about it. He needed to be fired. And now the subject's kind of been split on our Facebook page. We've had people, such as like Bart Banks saying, I don't know if he should be fired. Some people say that he may not, or but it turned out later he was. But the big question a lot of people are asking is, if now that he's fired, should he ever be hired again?
And Brandon, I know you have a huge kind of thought process behind this because of what we've been talking about before the show. But I know that. Not to spill the beans here, I know that you believe he should have been fired as well.
Oh, yeah. Right? Yeah, definitely.
Is it a lot easier to say after the fact, now that he's been fired, that, the athletic department, the athletic director made the correct decision? I think it might be easier for us now. Wouldn't y'all say that?
I think when the news first broke, I said that once I got more information that he should be fired. I'm not going to go in on him right now because I'm going to save that for later on. So you guys make sure you stay tuned. But he should have been fired. One of the things that you can't do is that you can't compromise the university. You can't compromise the program. And sadly, that's what Bobby Petrino did. You hired this woman in a certain role, which you had over 150 applicants. You only interviewed 3. 2 of those have had experience working in the football office. Then you hire, a little sweet thing over here on the side. Come out, you saw the picture. She ain't all that sweet looking. He could have did a lot better. But, yes, he deserves to be fired. But I'll dig in on Bobby Petrino a little bit later.
What was it, was it really her looks, or was it the thrill of, I don't want to say the thrill of the hunt, but was it the thrill of not getting caught? Was it the thrill of being Mr. Big Shot at the University of Arkansas and being able to get away with it, which, of course, he wasn't able to, and most people aren't able to, I would think, in that high of a profile situation. But
I mean, the thing about it with Bobby Petrino, and this is just the thing, whatever it was, you have to respect your job, and morally, you have to respect the institute of marriage. If you don't want to get married, hell, just go together. You can just go together. That's fine with doing that. When we talk about a marriage, we talking about the Bible.
Depending on who you're talking to, that might not necessarily be the case.
Yeah. So, but I mean, when we talking about football and the SEC and we're in the Bible Belt, when you do that, it's going to ruffle a lot of feathers, and you're really playing with fire when you get to that point.
The other thing, he's the only show in town. It's not like some of these states where there's multiple institutions: Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Arkansas. It's not Arkansas and Arkansas State, Arkansas and Arkansas Pine Bluff, or
he has Arkansas Monticello, the Boll Weevils.
Yeah, there you go. It's the University of Arkansas and everybody else, kind of like Ohio State and everybody else.
But the thing about it is, and I think a lot of people are missing this too, is like we've all said, you've embarrassed the university, you've embarrassed yourself, and you kind of embarrassed the sport. But the people you really got to feel bad for is his family. I mean, his kids, his grandkids. I mean, they've picked up, they've moved, they've followed him. The next thing you know, they've sacrificed a lot to support him, and that's how he repays them. Now everywhere they go, they have to go, oh, you're Bobby Petrino's kids. That's really horrible what your dad did. And now this hangs over them. But Reggie, what do you think? I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you think that?
I kind of agree with Matt said. Football is huge in Arkansas. Football is Arkansas, and the famous saying, "Too much is given, much is required." And him being in the position that he's in, I mean, that he had to be more responsible. That's just the bottom line. I think Bobby Petrino got exactly what he deserved in this situation.
That was Reggie that said that. Very well put, Reggie. Moving forward, is this a pattern? I mean, we've seen a lot in the past with Bruce Pearl, Rick Pitino, Jim Tressel, Jerry Sandusky, Kobe Bryant. You insert this sports figure here, and it seems like morality in sports is kind of like at an all-time low. So I want to get the panel's input on this. How do you guys feel about the morality in sports right now, and particularly college sports?
I think college sports, for just as many people that you find that are doing this, there's probably a bunch that aren't doing it. They're doing it the right way. It's always the bad ones that get the attention. But like you said, if you look at it, Jim Tressel, Pitino, Bruce Pearl, Jerry Sandusky, the issue that I have is out of all of them, Pitino's the only one who didn't lie. And he kept his job. But the other ones all lied. Now, Sandusky, it was after he left and they found out everything that was going on. But with Tressel and Bruce Pearl, especially Bruce Pearl, what he did was not a major offense. But he decided to lie to the NCAA, and not only that, put Tennessee in a bad situation. I don't know if it really is so much of a corruption. Maybe at the bigger schools it is. Maybe it's the pressure to keep winning. But the question, I think, is, if you're doing this, why don't you at least have the manhood to own up to it and say, yeah, I did it? Why are you trying to cover it up? Because you're never going to get away with it.
All right, and truth be told, a lot of times these schools give these coaches a lot of free reign. Let's just be honest here. You bring the guy in, you say, hey, we want to win, and we want to win now. And they turn their head at that point and say, whatever you got to do, I want to see wins. I want to be in the tournament. We want to be a formidable force in college sports. That's just the bottom line. So at that point, coaches are going to do whatever they have to do to win and to keep their job. So maybe it's something to be said about the administration who's looking over these coaches. They hire them, and then they kind of turn a blind eye at that point. What do you think, Matt?
Is that not a commentary on our culture? I think David Croswell said in our Facebook page that that's just kind of a microcosm. It's definitely a reflection of our society. I think that's the case. I think that there's an issue with our society and morality in our society. It's a big debate, of course, and I think we could probably delve deeper in that. But we live in a Johnny-come-lately society. I think that any of you that have gotten into your workplace and you realize pretty easily, any of you listeners out there, your job expects you to perform immediately. And I think that's also can be said with this, but it's even at a larger scale because they're getting paid millions of dollars. With that sort of pressure and responsibility, is it easier for these institutions to turn a blind eye? Is it something that you throw money at it and then it's more of an issue where these coaches that get all this money, they don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to handle success.
I think that sports is a reflection of society.
Absolutely.
I feel like the problems that you have in society, you're going to have in an arena of sports. And I think what a lot of people do is they set themselves up by putting coaches and players and all these people on a pedestal. And when it come down to it, they put their pants on just like you. Now, they might be a more expensive pair of pants, a custom tailored fit pair of pants, but it still put them on the same way. These are still people. They got the same skeletons in their closets that you, I, or anyone else may have. So I think a lot of people get devastated because you put this person up here and my kids look up to you and this, that, and the other, and I've bought the shirt and I look like you. And I think when it all goes down to it, sometimes I think in college sports, the tail has started to wag the dog. We throwing dollars as far as television rights and conference alignment. And when it all boils down to it, when you want to get 100,000 people on your campus, it's at a football game. You can't get 20 people to show up to see a kid do a science experiment. I mean, let's put it out there. Sports paves the way, and it makes the money for everything else. No matter what school you go to, your impression on that school is usually based on the sports program.
Well, and it's funny because it ties back into Bobby Petrino. That's where you've really got to applaud Arkansas, because Arkansas really could have, if let's say nothing came out that this girl was an employee or if it was anything, they easily could have turned a blind eye, say, hey, look, you brought us a lot of success. We're happy. We're proud of this. Just don't do it again. But, Arkansas stepped up to the plate and said, look, you know what? We appreciate it, but we can't tolerate this. And I think that's one of the problems that people are getting kind of sick of in sports. It's because you can shoot a basket, or because you've won a lot of games, or because you're making me a lot of money, I'll turn a blind eye to this, but just keep winning for me. It's okay. But the question that I've always had is, are you starting to see a trend now by a lot of these schools saying, no more, we're not going to play this game anymore, we're going to start doing it the right way?
Or schools finally realizing that they're trying to actually play into building the character of young men and women and student athletes? Or they're trying to live out their morals and values as a university that they've probably set, through the past 100 years or so of their institutions?
Oh, let's just be honest here. They want to win, and they want to win now, and they want to win big, and they want my school to be out there over your school. That's the bottom line. I mean, let's just be honest here. Even with college basketball, the thing come about Derrick Rose, right? A couple years ago, come to find out, this guy has, test scores and test grades that really he shouldn't have even been at the college. Shouldn't have even been at the school.
How much is it the effect of the media on college athletics today?
I think a lot of it's the media.
Well, we were talking about it in our last show, just the effect of the media and how it can delve deeper into even small schools and make them seem bigger than they are. With the fact that media is just, it exposes what's going on. 30, 40 years ago, who knows what was going on at the Alabamas, Ohio States, Oklahomas, USC's of the world that we don't know about and might never know about.
And the thing about it is, just to wrap up here, we're talking about moral behavior in college sports. I think a lot of it, schools don't want to be embarrassed.
Right.
Schools don't want to be embarrassed. The people who give the money don't want to be embarrassed. It's embarrassing when you go into the clubhouse and you got Jim from School X and he's making fun of you. So I think that schools don't want to be embarrassed. They're tired of it, and they feel like, hey, we can go get a winner anywhere. So that's just my take on it. That's pretty much part one. Stay tuned. We got part two coming live. You live with us here at the Locker Room.